The Australian Maltese Chamber of Commerce welcomes new members. For more details, visit their website amcc.org.au.
Jiena Marlin Xikluna nagħtikom merħba fil-programm Maltese Down Under. Grazzi li għażiltu li terġgħu tingħaqdu magħna għal programm ieħor bi produzzjoni kollha kemm mill-belt ta' Melbourne. Fil-programm illum ser nitkellmu ma' Sarah Jayne Portelli, direttriċi żagħżugħa minn Melbourne. Nibqgħu f'Melbourne u naslu wasla sal-Iskola tat-Tagħlim tal-Malti għall-Adulti f'Sydenham. U fl-aħħar nett imorru fin New South Wales u niltaqgħu ma' David Aksisa mill-Malta Rugby League. Fl-ewwel taqsima fil-programm illum il-kollega tiegħi Mark Avellino ser laqgħana ma' Sarah Jayne Portelli, direttriċi Awstraljana tal-Isel Malti.
It's a great spot to be, and we're in downtown St Kilda,
Yes.
the hub of alternative arts and everything.
Definitely.
You've just come back from Malta, so could you tell us a little bit about your experience of being in Malta?
I haven't been to Malta, it's been about 9 years since I've been to Malta, so I went back there basically to visit my family, to visit Malta again because I think it's a beautiful country, and to show my husband because it was my honeymoon also, so we went down there for a few reasons, but my honeymoon also, so we thought we'll go down to Malta, he can meet the family, I can show him how beautiful Malta is, try to pack everything into 9 days that we were there, so it was absolutely beautiful. We actually went to another film set, which is what I did last time I was there also, so we visited By the Sea set, which was,
Wow.
I know someone who knows the people who work there, Sandra and Noel, so we had coffee with them and we had a chat, talked about the film, Angelina Jolie, so it was quite interesting, yeah.
Wow.
And Malta was beautiful, Gozo's quiet, and Malta's still very busy. Yeah,
I was reading through your biography and you used to make mention that you'd like to go and work and live in Malta.
Yeah, definitely.
Was that kind of part of your plan before going there on this trip, or was that something that's developed since being on that trip?
First time I went to Malta about, I think it was 9 years ago, totally fell in love with Malta. I was walking through Mdina and I was like, I could do so much with this as a film set. I like sort of dark horror sort of things. So a vampire film would be amazing, like a woman running through there being chased by something really creepy. So I've always wanted to shoot a film in Malta, and I think it's so beautiful. Like you see it on film in so many different films now, like World War Z, you've seen it in By the Sea as well. It's just so beautiful, even when they don't portray it as Malta. It's just a beautiful place, lots of heritage. I love period films and I'd love to do something in Malta, and it's so close to Europe as well if we had to go somewhere else to film as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good.
Could you tell me a little bit about your own filmmaking? So we've got your most recent film, Daughter,
Yes,
is just
Daughter.
being launched, and it's a short film.
It's a short film.
Yeah? Oh, tell us a little bit about that film and what's been happening with it.
Okay, well, Daughter was made actually in St Kilda, so supported by the City of Port Phillip through a cultural development fund. So I started to write Daughter a few years ago, before my first film, Dusk, actually. So I'd take a while to write and develop stories, which I should be quicker, but started writing that after the death of Jill Marr in Brunswick, and followed the death of Tracy Connolly in St Kilda. So they were both victims of gendered violence. So it got me thinking about the media and how they portrayed women in the media and their deaths, because Tracy was actually a sex worker, but Jill was actually an office worker who worked for the ABC. So that sort of transition about how people actually looked at one person towards the other person. So I started writing about the story of how I was seeing it, 3 women out on a Friday night out in St Kilda, and how they interacted with each other when they crossed each other through the street. Because what I noticed I lived in St Kilda for over a year, nearly 2 years. What I noticed was it's a really communal sort of place. You always see the same people around. So if someone's missing, you don't see them. You're like, what happened to that person? So what I realised was, these people would cross each other. You'd see the same girl on the corner when you're walking down if it was a sex worker, or you'd see the same people sitting on the floor if they're homeless. So that whole story of the girls intertwining and how they react to each other, and then when one of them dies, how they actually cope with the violence of the actual act. So that's actually what the story is about. So yeah.
And what has the response been for the film so far?
It's still very fresh. We had a big premiere here. We had 180 people buy tickets and attend, so including the council, St Kilda Gatehouse, who actually helped support the film as well. They were sponsors and helped with the research. We had a lot of filmmakers attend from the area, and our feedback's been great so far. We haven't had anyone say anything bad about the film.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been good feedback.
And what sort of release is a film like this going to get? Because obviously being a short film, it's harder to place them in a cinema. So how are you going to launch it? How are you going to try and get it out there so people can see it?
Okay, so before we left for our honeymoon/Cannes holiday to actually promote Daughter and our short film Xena with my production company Nexus Production Group, we actually got funding from ATOM, so Australian Teachers of Media. So ATOM has picked up Daughter, so it'll be on the education shop website. It'll be on the ATOM website under the education shop, so you'll be able to buy it there, and also you'll be able to stream it as well.
Wow.
So we've just come back and we're trying to quickly get the DVDs done because they've been asking for it, and I'm like, I'm on my honeymoon, I can't do it just yet. I'm in Malta, or I'm in Cannes now, I can't do it. So this week we've just been hectic trying to get these DVDs done and get them off to ATOM so they can start selling Daughter.
Yeah. If we go back to when you first started in filmmaking, what actually sort of made you go down the precarious path of being a filmmaker in Australia? Because it's never easy.
I fell into it accidentally, actually. I've always been a writer, so I've always been writing stories since I was younger and making little books and binding them myself, and drawing as well. So I've always been creative. But in 2006, someone called me up and said, we want you to be our art director on this film. And I was working in a supermarket, and I'm like, what are you talking about? I have no idea who you are. Oh yeah, you've been recommended. So I went on set, and then they pushed me off to be a set dresser. So I built a police station with a couple of other people. I picked up all the furniture off the street, and then we dressed it, we painted it, made it look like a real police station, and I fell in love with it. And I'm like, this is what I want to do. And I kept going and going, trying to get work. Little jobs, was all unpaid, but fitting around my full-time hours.
Yeah.
And now you could say I'm a full-time artist. I wrote my film Dusk, and I directed it in 2013. Probably wrote the film before then, the script, but 2013 I started directing my own films. And I do a bit of art department on the side.
So were you sort of like training on the job of direction, or did you do some courses, or
I didn't do it. I've just been on a lot of sets and worked on a lot of other people's film. You just sort of pick it up. I think directing is really hard. People don't understand what a hard role it is, but it is really hard, especially when you have a lot of people to direct. Like Daughter was a much bigger process for me than Dusk. Dusk was much smaller. We shot it in my house over like 3 or 4 days. But Daughter, we were on the streets, like in all sorts of weather, dealing with different people, dealing with, people walking past, cars, weather, everything. And it was much bigger and a lot bigger crew and a lot more people, so it was a bigger process.
Where would you like to be sort of after Daughter is out there in the world for a while, and obviously you'll start working on your next project?
Yes.
What sort of films do you hope to keep making?
My last 3 films, including Daughter, have been a lot about women's issues, violence against women, loneliness, and sort of loss and that sort of thing. I'm moving more into, my next piece is a dark horror. It's going to be an animation, so we're working on that to get that into Cannes. Like I said, it depends probably how you said the influence on the environment. When I go to Malta, we hope to go there soon, so I think that'll move me more into my period sort of element. I love period films, so maybe I'll be doing those sort of things. But I think in Europe it'll be a whole different experience, so I'm not sure what I want to do. Probably continue doing shorts or maybe make a feature. Yeah, it depends on what inspires me.